Welcome to Containerized Conversations, where we try to containerize our conversations to less than 20 minutes. I'm your co-host, Jesse Caffarelli. My usual co-host, Josh Warhurst, couldn't be here today, but as a temporary backup, I have the wonderful Giancarlo with me that we'll be interviewing tonight. How's it going, Giancarlo?
Hey man, hey Jesse, how you doing, dude? I'm doing pretty well, doing pretty fantastic over here. Just excited to be on the podcast, talk about some conversations that are containerized.
Yeah, no, and I'm super excited to have you. So, Giancarlo, I think one of the big perspectives that you have on the industry is you actually kind of came into the industry as DevOps was starting to gear up and get really big. And you came in as a junior with no experience in DevOps. And you kind of had to quickly pick things up and essentially learn by fire. And so I wanted to talk about your experience. And kind of how you learned that as you were building up, and maybe our audience members who are trying to get into DevOps, whether they're, a little bit older in a different career path or just getting out of college and trying to figure out how to get into the working world. So why don't you start off by telling us, like, how did you get into this career?
Yeah, initially, to be honest, I didn't even know what I wanted to do. I just knew I wanted to work with computers, and I just knew a system administration was a career, and you work with
Yeah.
computers and you plug things in.
Yeah.
I was like, I can do that. I'm already doing that at the house. Like, I have a
Okay.
Linksys router, connecting that back and forth, resetting it.
Yeah.
I'm already there, right? And I graduated with a bachelor's in IT, and then I worked as a system administrator. I landed my dream job right at the gate after graduation, and I'm like, boom, I did it. And then I thought that was it
Yeah.
until I had a manager. He was really good. The reason he was really good is because he was able just to figure out this guy has something to him. He can do something more. So
Yeah.
he told me, hey, why don't you go learn Python? I'll give you like 3 hours a day and you go learn Python. I'm like, okay. I don't see why I'm not going to use it here, I think. And I learned Python, and then he told me to start scripting some stuff. And I was like, you
Yeah.
know what? This actually makes sense. And it was a temporary job, right? My contract was up. It was a 1 year gig, and he told me, hey, after this, your time is almost up here. You should go look for a data related job or software development because
Yeah.
system administration is going to be gone. I was like, what is it? Like, it feels so awesome. Like, why is this cool job going to go away? And that's exactly what I did, though. I just followed his advice. He was such a brilliant dude. And I was like, he seems smart. I'm going to go follow his advice. And I landed two offers actually for each type of role. So I got like a data analytics job, and then I also
Oh,
got like
wow.
a DevOps job. And I didn't know what DevOps was until the guy interviewing me. It was for a junior position. He interviewed me and he told me, do you know what that is? And during the interview, he actually taught me the whole thing. And I understood in a sense. And I was like, wow, I can basically automate myself out of my system admin job. That's what I
Yeah.
thought. And that's where it clicked between my old boss and this guy who interviewed me. I was
Yeah.
like, dude, this is what he means. It's going out the window. That's how I got started. I had, first of all, a great boss, and then I also had the energy and determination to keep going forward.
That's really cool. So you actually started out as a system admin, and
Yeah, it was like a internship
how long
type
how
of
long
deal.
were you there for? You were there for a few months, a few years. How long did
A year and a half.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you just started learning automated tools, and that kind of led you into a DevOps role, and that's where it took off from there.
Yeah, exactly. Hey man, I'm like a self-starter. So like when I got into the DevOps role, I didn't understand the basics.
Yeah.
So I picked up, the book everyone picks up, right? The DevOps handbook, the
Hmm.
Unicorn Project.
Yeah. Yeah.
You pick those up and you start reading them, you start diving into them, and you start doing that at the job. So that's what I started doing at that
Yeah.
first DevOps gig I had.
Yeah. Yeah, we actually did an episode on the Phoenix Project. It was our second episode that we had. It's a really good book to read. So you got into DevOps, you didn't really know what it was, and then you started learning on the job, you kind of learning through fire. You read a couple books. What made you like stick with it?
That's a good question. It wasn't the money because I was getting paid. Junior positions, ooh, terrible.
Yeah, well,
I have to say it's the commanding of like an army at the palm of your hands. And when I say army, it's like all these like components, these computers, right? I'm gonna tell you what to do, and you're gonna go do it, and they go do it, and they just go like conquer whatever they go conquer, whatever you tell them to conquer. And the coding was cool, right? See, this is 2016. People were like not coding that much, and like, yo, you know how to code? I'm like, yeah, I do. I could do some Python print statements. Pretty hot.
That's really cool. So you said DevOps. Now we did a whole episode on DevOps and
Yeah.
talking about like what DevOps is. In our episode, we really talked about how DevOps is more of a mindset or a mentality. Now, I think when you were getting into the career path, there was a ton of roles that did say DevOps, and that was just kind of like the word for it. But nowadays, you actually have a lot more roles like platform engineering, you have site reliability engineering, you have all these different offshoots. Throughout your career, what have you been?
Man, everything. Like whatever the latest role is, I've been that. So DevOps, SRE, platform, and then now I don't know if this is part of it, but now I'm like just observability engineer. I'm just doing like monitoring, synthetics, managing a
Mm,
whole observability platform, and I'm using the DevOps
yeah.
mindset to then perform whatever actions I need as an observability engineer.
You could argue that that is, I guess, SRE, right? Like one of the fundamentals of an SRE is to monitor the reliability and performance of production.
Yeah, yeah, it is part SRE, but I'm managing the whole, like we have an internal observability platform. So it's kind of like
Oh,
platform
interesting.
and SRE, I guess, because you have the
Yeah, it's like a
platform you're
mix of
running.
both. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I guess out of all of your career paths you've been in with like the system admin role and then like the DevOps role, the SRE role, platform engineering, like what was your favorite role to play as?
You know what? I don't know. That's tough to say because I like them all, to be honest. System
Yeah.
admin was fun because I was in a data center,
Oh
but that
yeah.
got old quick, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Still fun. I'll go back there once in, dude, if that was up to me, I'll go back to a data center every once in a while just to
Yeah.
see
One
what's
of
up.
my first jobs was in a data center too. It was a lot of fun. I do like working with hardware. That's definitely the hard part about being in this job. Sometimes it's all cloud based.
Yeah, all you're touching is clicky clacky keyboards nowadays. You're not touching any wires. You're not moving any racks.
Yeah,
Nothing. You're not
yeah,
getting cold in the data center, freezing your ass off. Nothing.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, so as far as site reliability is concerned, you had a little run at Chewy, kind of being like an embedded SRE. Isn't that right?
Yeah, so I did work at Chewy and I was an SRE, but I didn't feel like an SRE role, to be honest. A lot of the roles that I've chosen that are SRE really it's just more DevOps. You're doing less SLOs and
Yeah,
monitoring type things, and you're just actually just doing infrastructure as a code, Kubernetes
interesting,
containers. So I think
interesting.
it depends on the organization you join and what did they define as
Yeah.
SRE or DevOps platform.
Yeah, interesting. So you almost played like an infrastructure engineer embedded into a dev team while you were there.
Yeah, exactly. I was an embedded SRE, but I was doing all the infrastructure for the team I was embedded in.
Yeah. If you had to choose today your best like infrastructure as code tool, would you still go with Terraform or would you try something else?
Hey man, I've been using Terraform forever. Even after the whole Terraform like, fiasco they had with the terms and conditions changing,
Yeah, yeah,
I still think Terraform is king. I've used Pulumi. I mean, it's good, very flexible,
yep.
but you got to know TypeScript. But it's a lot easier nowadays because of AI. And then I've also used
That's true.
Crossplane, very new.
Yeah,
Great idea,
yeah.
lots of potential, but it's very new. A lot of bloat when you're composing your infrastructure. I think it'll get there, but right now it's too early.
I've heard like a little bit of crossplane, but I think the way that it was floated towards me was more of like a platform engineering tool to essentially build out templates for dev teams to run quickly without them having to interface with anything. Is crossplane using like Terraform in the background still? Does it have its own like IAC code that's generating all of this?
Yeah, you're right. It packages code into modules, for example, which are just all YAML basically. And in the backend, it does use Terraform. So there's a bunch of stuff Crossplane does that convert that stuff to Terraform, and you can actually go into like the Crossplane controller, and you can essentially just run Terraform.
Interesting. Okay, and then are you building your own custom Terraform code in the background, or
Um,
is it doing it for you?
no, there are these things called functions Crossplane provides, and
Okay,
allows you
interesting.
to do these things where you don't need to do any kind of hacky Terraform stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So you brought it up a little bit, but what's your take on AI today in today's world?
It's not gonna take over, to be honest. I
Mm,
think it'll for sure. At first, I was like, man, this is it, dude. Like, look at this.
yeah,
Look at it. I typed it up. It did the whole thing for me, like the whole
yeah,
script. I just copy paste and boom.
yeah,
But it's not as sophisticated as it needs to be to take over uh, roles that we're doing,
yeah,
like in DevOps or even software engineering, right? It does
yeah,
front end pretty well. It does some pretty good basic back end,
yeah,
but all this data is like taken from already existing software or code.
yeah,
And what if there's like some type of new paradigm or like some type of new thing that needs to be created that's hasn't been created before and the AI hasn't
yeah,
learned about it, you know?
yeah. Yeah, no, that's exactly it, and that's kind of how I feel a little bit too. I use it. I've been using it for a little bit now, and I have to say, more times than not, I actually get frustrated using it, and I end up not using it. I'll use it as like a baseline to start whatever piece of work I'm trying to do, but then from that point on, I kind of run off and start working on it myself.
It's good for like a foundation. Like, let me get the
Yeah,
basic template and then I'll start cracking at it. And then
yeah,
there's like something I don't like understand, like a library. I'm like, what is this piece of code doing?
yes,
Like,
yeah.
tell me what it,
Actually,
describe it for me.
I'm not an expert yet. I'm still learning all this stuff too. But the MCP protocol, right? Have you heard about
Yeah.
this at all? For our listeners at home, what MCP is a model context protocol. You can think of MCP as the protocol that network cables use when they're doing IPv4 packets. It's a standard protocol, but instead of computers talking with each other, think of it like actual AI agents talking with each other. Claude is okay at everything, but if you have it try to generate, let's say, Terraform code, it kind of sucks at generating the Terraform code. But HashiCorp came out with their own smaller model that's trained on their documentation. And so you can take that, run it locally, and then connect your Claude desktop to that Docker container. And then from that point on, whenever you ask it Terraform specific related questions, it will actually go and connect to your Docker container and ask the model the Terraform specific questions. And because that model has been specifically trained on the
Mm,
Terraform documentation, it's way better at answering those questions.
that's cool. So they're all referring to the expert, the SME of
Exactly.
their MCP network here.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I heard about MCP the first time I heard about it is that it handles delegating access
Yep.
to certain applications as well. I thought that was really handy because this whole, have you heard about vibe coding lately?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
What's
it's
your
like vibe
whoa?
coding.
Why don't you tell the definition that you know it to the audience?
I don't think I've ever vibe coded before, but check this
Mm,
out. I think I know what it is, right? Like I've gotten enough context to figure out and piece together. So I think vibe coding is when
yeah, yeah,
you're on your VS Studio, your IDE, whatever it is, right? And you're just jamming out to EDM, typing up, whatever you need to type up to make your application work or your infrastructure spin up. And then, hey, I need a database on this AWS account, and then you start like hitting enter, and the agent goes to the agent that has access to create access on your AWS account to then spin up that RDS access to do that, and then it comes back to your IDE, and then it goes like, okay, yeah, we're gonna do that right now. Like the access is created for this permission or for this IAM role to then utilize this piece of code to then create your thing. So it's like agents talking on agents. So it's like
wow.
MCP vibe coding. You don't have
Okay,
to
I
worry
didn't
about
know.
like the small stuff.
I didn't. Okay, that's a new level. I thought vibe coder was just Copilot in my VS Code suggesting code as I was coding it. But you're almost
No, it
taking it
goes
to the
deeper. It
next
goes
level. It's
deeper.
like you have multiple things to it. That's crazy.
You
Is
know,
that
like
actually a
the
thing? Can I do that?
exact, yes, that's what MCP will help with, like delegating access. So like you want to go make a pull request, like the MCP that's good at making pull requests will go make the pull request based off the changes it's all you do on your IDE.
Yeah,
So you don't have to stop and then go think about what to write in your pull request, add the people who need to review it, nothing. It'll all do it for you.
yeah.
So you just keep on
I mean,
vibing and coding.
see, listen, I could that type of vibe coding I can actually get behind because you're not necessarily having the agents write all of this like proprietary data for you, but you're using it to like do these things that you would have had to break your own context to go do, and instead you
Exactly,
just
yes.
I like that. I like it. I don't think that's technically the definition of vibe coding, at least
That's
from what I understand it. But I fully can get behind that definition, and I actually think that should be what vibe coding is.
at my job. We have this channel, Vibe Coding, and people are just, they're not even going to GitHub anymore. I'm telling you. They're
That's
just vibing, not breaking context. And guess what? Yeah, you're absolutely right about like you're an agent as well. You're part of the
yeah.
MCP network, right?
You just eventually you can plug your own brain in. You are an
Yeah.
MCP.
Okay, now we're getting crazy because we can do that and we can be an expert in every field and we just go ask expert me on zoology type questions.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I'll never learn anything because I know I have Giancarlo, the very context specific. Yeah, no, but honestly, like, and I knew that GitHub thing was a thing because GitHub actually creates an MCP server. They actually have an endpoint they are hosting. When you set
Yes.
up like your Claude desktop, you can actually hook up. You have to give it your GitHub access token, but then you can hook it in. And then, like you said, you can have it do PRs. You can have it read an issue in GitHub and suggest to you how to solve that
Yeah,
issue based off the
exactly.
code. I mean, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. You know, again, like I know we said we weren't afraid of it taking over our jobs, but sometimes when I see it suggesting a PR change of how to fix an issue, and it's not right all the time, but it's a pretty good start. I don't know, man.
And that's when we have to MCP ourselves, dude. This is where we have to containerize ourselves, and then we do the same thing, right? It's taking our
Yeah.
jobs. Well, I'm going to enter their job market by
Yeah,
AIing myself, right? And being really good at making good PRs. That's it.
that's it right there.
And then we sell that to like different companies. There we go. Boom.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I mean, it's the AI world is absolutely crazy. I think it's taken off. Let's kind of switch gears and over into what you're currently doing at your job. So you said you're doing observability.
Yeah. So observability, I am a observability engineer. Well, I'm actually on the platform team. And we have
Okay.
two platforms. We have like the IDP, the internal developer portal, built on Kubernetes, Crossplane. And then we have the observability platform, which is, I'm the main lead for that.
Awesome.
And mostly what I'm touching every day. And we're using the Grafana LGTM stack. And before we weren't using this, before we were using the usual stuff, right? Datadog,
Yeah.
Elasticsearch, and even New Relic. I work for a crypto company, so they like to be very decentralized, even with internally. So you can
Yeah.
choose whatever product, any work style, whatever you want to work as or with, like you can do it. Before like that big economic like event where things just dropped. Before that, anyone was free to use any technology, buy from any vendor, use any software, and then now we're in like this phase where the economic times are pretty bad, so we have to like cost consolidate. So now we've consolidated into this Grafana LGTM stack, open source, friendly, community is great, and we've been saving a lot of money like that.
I mean, Datadog and New Relic, the price of those is just absolutely phenomenal. How the price can just rack up.
Yeah, it's insane the amount people pay, but there's a reason because
Yeah.
once we switched over to Grafana, our developers saw like the big difference. They saw why Datadog is so expensive, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Datadog, you can push anything. And you can push anything, everything. And if you're going over your monthly allowance, you can just tune those parameters on like retention policies and things like that. But Grafana,
Yeah.
it's a little bit harder, especially the OSS one. Like you can see your even though you're saving money, you can see the cost just skyrocket the next day for some reason because someone
Mm.
just left like a performance environment running or something. So you have to be kind of a cost
Oh,
aware there too all
interesting.
the time.
My biggest problem was every time you upgraded Grafana, all the dashboards always broke. We use Grafana for monitoring like the Kubernetes dashboards, but every time we upgraded either Kubernetes or the Grafana dashboards, they were changing all of the fields that the metrics were on. And so you would have like a bunch of dashboards like monitoring pod resources, but it would be like a capital R on the resource name. And then when you upgrade it, all of a sudden your dashboard said no data. And it's because they lowercased it and put hyphens in. So they changed the syntax of the metrics. And you had to go in and modify every single one every time it was upgraded.
They do exactly the same thing till this day, actually. Well, there's a misalignment, but with the labels you're doing and the labels they're suggesting. But there's a way to fix that is by using
Mm.
their mixin. Mixin is like templated out dashboards. They're all built in JSONnet, which is ugly and hard to use, so it's not very friendly. But
Yep.
you're supposed to use JSONnet
Yeah.
to describe your labels that you use, else you have to use the default labels they use. So it's not a friendly way to
Hmm.
figure out how to do dashboards completely all the time, but that's one of the pain points
Yeah.
of Grafana for sure. Like they're suggesting to
Yeah.
use it this way, and you don't want to use that way, so you have to do something even harder to figure out how to do it your way and more and actually keep it automated.
Yeah. That right there is the part of the cost when you pay for Datadog, right? That's part of the many hidden costs of using Grafana that I don't think people think about when they do that type of stuff. But with that being said, I still think Datadog is maybe a little too overpriced sometimes, but I don't know.
It, dude, Datadog is elite. It's like you click one span that has the error and it shows you all like the pieces of information that correlate to that. Like in a click and in one view and one
Yeah.
pane. It's amazing. So it's kind of worth the price.
And that's the problem, right? It's like everything else in this world. You don't want to pay it, but you end up paying it because they have something that it's just hard to replicate,
Yeah, convenience makes money, dude. Think about DoorDash, you know?
That's for sure. Well, I want to thank you very much, Giancarlo, for being on here today with me. I think we got some really great insight as to starting up as an SRE, DevOpsy type person, the type of things that you should be passionate about as you go through this career. And it sounds like you got a lot of things on your plate at your current job.
Yo, thanks for having me, Jesse, dude. I appreciate it, man.
And that was our containerized conversation for tonight. Thank you for joining us. Good night.